I think we have to get back to basics with our health and wellness and look for those big pieces that are a little out of whack, and we will feel better. And that's really the heart, I think, of what we want to talk about.
Let's just go out to dinner. That'll make me feel better. Let's go out and have dinner. And then they go out and they eat a crummy dinner and have some drinks with dinner, because it's like, oh, that'll make me feel better right now.
You are listening to EMS with your hosts, Erik Axene and Matt Ball.
We just got back from vacation, and I loved having the watch to count my steps.
Yeah, which goes along with our topic today. That's why. That's the main reason why I got it is the heart rate. Yeah, but what like zones, like what zone you're in. If you're in a fat burning zone or a cardio zone, or that's really nice to have.
Well, that is what we're talking about today. Yeah. And health and wellness is not about diet. It's not about exercise. It's about
not about looking good.
No, it's not. It's not about being thin.
Yeah.
However, maybe it's good to lose weight.
Well, I think that if you're healthy, most healthy people are thinner, right? They don't carry around a lot of extra fat. Yeah. But there are also there's a term of skinny fat. There's a lot of people that are skinny, but they're not healthy.
And that's it. It's being healthy. And I think if you're making good decisions, little decisions every day. I think the average person makes 35,000 decisions every day. And if you're making a lot of good decisions throughout the day, you're going to see the cumulative effect of that down the road, and you're going to feel really good. I think sometimes, like the nutrition, for example, we think, well, what's that feel-good food?
Dopamine, hit.
Dopamine hits, right?
Yeah.
But what we really want to do is to eat food so we feel good.
Yeah.
Down the road, right?
Well, that's the overall goal, but a lot of it, I think we've become a society of instant gratification with social media.
So much have.
And so, I just want to, and I mean, I'm guilty of it, oh man, pizza sure does sound good, or that cheeseburger sure does sound good,
And I think nutrition is really a small part of health and wellness. It's a piece of it, but it's not the biggest piece.
So let's define the different factors of health and wellness. So diet, nutrition, we'll call it nutrition, not diet.
Like our Thrive acronym. This is when I talk. It's the Thrive thing. The T is tribe or team. Yep. The community of people you're with. I think that's actually, and that's why I start with it. The biggest one. Yeah. We are designed to be in community, to love one another, to be loved, to love others, to be known and still loved. I mean, this is a basic human need, is community.
That's one.
Isolation has been shown to decrease our health. It's like, I think loneliness was equal to smoking a pack a day and equal to morbid obesity as far as health detriments. So I think we've underestimated the power of community. So that's the T. Yeah.
I think a lot of that, and I think we've talked about this before, that's what attracts a lot of people to the fire service, is that sense of brotherhood, sisterhood, that sense of community, that you're going into battle together, so to speak, and those bonds that are formed in battle are really strong. Yeah. And so, again, I think it's part of that whole acronym is community,
Huge part of it, and I think, in my opinion, everything's really important, but I think that's the most important one. Another reason why our Thrive acronym fits so well, because really having a community of people is a foundation to build on. All the other health components really super, super important.
So community.
Yep. And or team or tribe.
Team, tribe, community.
Just to stick with the acronym. And then the H is health metrics. So, boy, we could talk about this
for hours.
The healthcare system is a mess. Yes. And I'm speaking as a physician. Right now, the healthcare system is incentivized the more unhealthy people are, the more money it generates. I don't think any physician got into being a doctor to generate a bunch of money and revenue. Right. That's not why we did it. I think more physicians are there because they really wanted to make an impact on health and make people more healthy and whole, whether you're a surgeon fixing somebody in the operating room or like me, an ER doctor, helping people navigate through a healthcare crisis, whether it's a family member or themselves. Yeah. We really went into it for some very altruistic, idealistic sometimes reasons. The healthcare system, though, is really providing a healthcare that really has lost its way, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's become about money.
Yeah,
a lot of it has become about money.
A lot of it has become about money, and a lot of it, unfortunately, is I think again lost its way, where the patient. The idea of health has become more of managing chronic health problems, and the diabetes is getting a lot of control, so let's increase the dose.
It's kind of like having a patch or having a hole in your tire in your car, right? And instead of going to the tire shop or whatever and getting the tire fixed or getting a new tire,
just keep putting air in it.
You just keep putting air in it.
That's a good analogy.
And
I think that's
you're not fixing the underlying problem. You're just taking care of the symptoms of the problem with diabetes. Now, medications, and I'm sure you would agree, medications do play a role in health and wellness. Mm-hmm. There's certain things where, if you have chronic hypertension, you need to be on a hypertension medication. Yeah. But a lot of our issues, a lot of things that people take medications for could be fixed with proper nutrition, diet, exercise,
correct,
rest, lifestyle, those kind of things. Getting outside, not sitting all day. A lot of these health issues could be fixed by that.
That's right. Yeah. And we cannot throw the baby out with the bathwater with our healthcare system. We have an incredible healthcare system, innovative. I mean, most of the research done in medicine is through Western medicine.
Right.
I mean, we are leading the forefront in research and innovation within healthcare. Mm-hmm. All that being said, though, again, I really believe our healthcare system is misguided. It's more reactive instead of what I believe should be more preventive. Mm-hmm. The best healthcare system, so the definition of quality of care, we're getting a little bit into healthcare policy here, but the definition, as I've come to learn from a lot of my colleagues, the definition of high quality care is getting the right answer in the right amount of time with the least amount of resources. Okay. That's quality of care. So if we can find the answer to fix something with the least amount of resources in the least amount of time, it's almost the opposite of the way we're delivering healthcare now. We're managing these chronic conditions over a long period of time with lots of resources, and the older and sicker they get, the more resources they require. If we could find a way to prevent that from occurring and be in disease prevention mode, that's the kind of health care that I was trained to deliver. Mm-hmm. If we go back to medical school and look at really what we were trained to do, it's really about preventive medicine. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, there's a lot of training in managing disease too.
Right.
And I think in the ER, as far as health metrics go, the beauty of emergency medicine, in my opinion, and I'm a little biased because I'm an ER doctor,
sure,
is that we treat acute conditions.
Yeah. You
bring me a patient, like just remember that patient we had that totally messed up their chest cavity on a big fence,
big trauma.
That was terrible, right?
Yeah.
We fixed her.
Yeah.
It took the healthcare system. I think she had like 18 surgeries or something like that. Anyway, that acute emergent condition, we fixed them. And I think that's a pure form of medicine to me, which I love about emergency medicine. It's acute care. Mm-hmm. What we struggle in our healthcare system is the chronic care. I think that's the issue. We need to move away from chronic disease management into preventive care. Mm-hmm. And if you're down the road in chronic care of your diabetes, it's going to take a long time to get back. Yep. But we have a lot of very unhealthy people being, in my opinion, treated in a way that's suboptimal. Yeah. And we've got to, it's not going to happen overnight, but...
Well, and diabetes, like you said, I mean, it's such a huge problem in America, right? And it's based off sedentary lifestyles and diet, right? We could fix, I mean, I don't know the numbers, but we could fix probably a lot of people and get them off all their, type 2 diabetic medications, metformin and so on, if just by saying, lose some weight, start dieting. And, I've had this conversation. One of the guys that I worked with, he's a bigger guy. That's just the way, he's genetically kind of a bigger guy, which we'll talk about genetic components. He's genetically designed to be a little bit bigger, right?
Mm-hmm. Body style.
Yeah. And so ectomorph or, mesomorph. And anyway, but I would go and, I like to work out. I work out just as much for my mental health as I do my physical health, right? Because I feel so much better when I do.
Yeah.
And so it's become part of my life. It's always kind of been part of my lifestyle. And he would tell me all the time, he's like, well, I can't do what you do. I can't do push-ups like you do or pull-ups. I'm like, it doesn't matter that you can't do what I can do. It doesn't matter.
We're all different.
Like, he could be strong. He's got this huge back. He could be immensely strong if he wanted to work out. He is strong, but if he actually put some time and effort in. So I think a lot of people compare, like, you're a big guy. You can move big, heavy weight, right? I am not made to move big, heavy weight. It's not the way I'm designed.
Yeah.
I'm more designed to do a lot of pull-ups and push-ups and more of a wrestler gymnast build, where you're more of a football player build, right? We're all not designed to be NFL linemen, and so I think that some people compare, well, I can't go run a marathon. Okay, then don't go run a marathon. But that doesn't mean that you can't get out and walk 10,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
Or you could change the way that you're eating a little bit and lose some of that body fat and feel better, right? And one of the things that we were talking about before the podcast, you had talked about being tired. And, I've gone all over the world doing mission trips, medical mission trips and stuff. And one of the things people always say is, I just feel so run down and tired.
Yeah.
And you're saying that's a lot to do with our diet.
It is. It's a lot to do with our diet, our fast-paced, instant gratification, social media. I mean, there's a lot of problems with rest.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about it.
The other acronym or letter.
Yeah, but with health metrics, though, and you kind of touched on it, is that there's a lot of things that we can do to monitor our health. If you and I were flying a plane, how foolish would it be to fly without looking at the gauges?
Yeah.
We have this great healthcare system where we have access to all these health metrics. We can actually look at them.
Yeah, you can look at them right on your phone.
And I think this also, it's this may not be the place to get into the details on this, but there's a lot of things that we as patients, as consumers of the healthcare system, can do to take ownership of some of these health metrics and we can monitor them and work with our primary care physician to be involved in our healthcare and prevent diseases. There are things that you can do to see warning signs of diabetes, for example, long before your blood sugar starts to go crazy.
Right.
By just watching your blood sugar, it's kind of like being in an ambulance and just watching the oxygen saturations and never looking at end tidal.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that can manifest early, and we're not even checking those health metrics. So the H in Thrive is huge. I like to think of it as the control panel in a cockpit. We've got to have those health metrics. We got to know our weight. We got to know our cholesterol level. We got to know our blood pressure. All these things, BMI. That's a very important H. But rest is the R. Rest, and not just rest, but restoration, right?
Yeah.
Our bodies need rest. Our bodies have to decompress and process the day. We need that deep sleep. We need that rest. We need that time. And not just sleep. We also, I just took a vacation.
Yeah.
A much needed vacation. And I'll admit, this, I don't vacation enough. I need to take a break more often. But having that time of restoration, connecting with your family, whatever it is, doing what you love to do, you've got to have that every day. You've got to have that every week, every year. You've got to get away and find a way to restore you. What do you do, Matt? I mean, I know your motorcycle rides you take. Is that not restorative?
Oh, totally. Yeah. And, one of the things I'll say about sleep that I've learned recently is that, the first half of your sleep is about physical rest and restoration, like repairing things physically. And then the second half of your sleep is about mental health and mental restoration. And that's why first responders have so much PTSD problems, is because our sleep gets interrupted all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And so when we're in that restorative sleep phase, boom, tones go off, and we're now going 100 miles an hour doing whatever we're doing. And a lot of times we lack that restorative mental health sleep. And that's a huge part of it, right? Because obviously it's not just about physical health, it's about mental health. And so, rest is huge. Yeah, I love riding my motorcycle. I know I hear it all the time. People are like, one thing I'd never do as a doctor or a nurse or a paramedic is ride a motorcycle. And that's fine, whatever. That's totally fine. I wear protective gear. I wear a very expensive full-faced helmet. I try to ride, very safely and pay attention.
It is more dangerous than a car.
Absolutely.
You know that.
Yes.
But to you, you've got this living life. There's this balance. And for you, Hey, listen, if riding a motorcycle is not that big of a deal to you, then don't do it. I mean, if you're riding just to look cool, don't ride.
No.
You got to have a real good, like you do. You've got this great reason.
It's almost a spiritual thing. The Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. It's a book about this guy. Really? And he talks about this trip that he takes with his son. It's a very famous book.
What is it called again?
The Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, which it doesn't sound, but it's more about the spirituality. And a lot of people have said that is the one book that truly captures the essence of what it is to really, it's kind of like being runners. Yeah. Like people talk about a runner's high, you know, and I was just talking to my wife and I were out on the bike a couple weekends ago on a Saturday. And it was just like when the weather's nice, and it's just a whole different experience when you're on a motorcycle, the smell, the temperature, you feel all those, you're experiencing those, you feel like you're in it. You're not just sitting in your little bubble. They call it a cage, you know? And, especially when you're on the open road and you're not overly worried about traffic and lights and all these other things, but you're on an open road and you're not necessarily stressed out about an accident. You're just cruising, especially when you're in another group of motorcycles. And I ride a Harley. I like Harleys. I love the way that they sound. And there is nothing cooler than a group of Harleys. And when they're all hitting about the same RPM, same gear, same speed, and they all kind of get rhythmically in place, it's just a cool experience. It's just something really neat.
But see what you've just described to me, you can see in your eyes the passion you have for riding and that spiritual experience of that. You're not thinking about the busyness of the day. You're not thinking about, you're not escaping, but you're in a place where you're being restored to something. And we all have those things. And if you're listening and you don't have one of those things, you got to find it. And that's kind of an exciting thing to be empowered to do. You know, I'm going to take some time to figure out what my motorcycle riding thing might be.
What's your passion?
For me, it's playing my guitar. I get
music.
I get here to the office early. Oftentimes, I like to be by myself. I play my guitar to start the day. For me, it's a spiritual experience when I do that, and it's a time for me every day to just kind of decompress a little bit and play some music. And
it doesn't, though, you talked about the rest and vacations. Like, it doesn't always have to be some, week-long expensive trip. It can be mini breaks, like taking a 20, 30-minute ride on your motorcycle, playing your guitar for 30 minutes. Maybe working out is your thing. That's where you find your passion, your peace. So I think that, to me, that's the biggest thing, especially in our jobs, our career paths, is very chaotic. There's a lot of stress and trauma related to it. And so finding peace, I think, within your day, finding whether it's getting up early in the morning or late at night, whatever it is, finding that time to just kind of unplug and focus on something else, something you enjoy, whether maybe it's a religious or spiritual thing, that's another factor. But I think that's super important. It doesn't always have to be this big vacation that you take. No. You can do these mini breaks.
And I think part of restoration too isn't just rest in rest itself. The restoration is almost like this rebuilding. You've got to have that rebuilding, and some of it could be a sense of purpose in what you're doing. Some of it could be a sense of helping others in some way. Something outside of yourself. There's a lot of different ways to be restored, and it's a blessing for some people where their jobs can do some of these things for them too. If you could find something that you're really passionate about and get paid to do it, it's not really common, but you can. Those are very special
I think
things.
That's the fire service. I think most people, like you said about being a doctor, you became a physician because at the core of it, you wanted to help people. You wanted to help people when they were sick. And I think, I've been in interview panels, and it's the standard question and the standard answer of what makes you want to be a firefighter. And, I want to help people. And sometimes we lose our way in that. Right? But I think if we always remember, like, what is why did I want to get into this? I've always had a sense of, I knew I wanted to be in some type of a service type job. Just because that's the way that I'm wired, right? Like, financial gain, money, things like that, business stuff never interested me in the least bit. But, serving something greater than myself. My daughter right now is in Air Force basic training. And, it's hard. It's hard. It's very hard as a parent. I have a whole new level of respect for military parents. I mean, it's something that you can't, it's like somebody that's lost a child telling them that you know how they feel is absolutely crazy. Like, you have no idea how they feel. You don't know how somebody feels until you've done that. Like, it's different than even I've sent one of my daughters off to college, and that was hard too. But sending your kid off to military basic training in the military is just a different thing. But she's going to do something bigger than herself.
Huge purpose, yeah.
Yeah, it's got purpose behind it, and there's pros and cons and everything.
Part about being an American too, the sense of
you're serving your country,
duty and country patriotism.
You're giving back.
There's something pure about that.
100%. I believe that with every core of my being. My family is very. I've got a lot of military people that are in my family, and so I'm a huge supporter of the military and people that do that. God bless them. It's a sacrifice.
It is counterintuitive, but that restoration, it's that recharge. It's that thing that you do that just fills up your cup.
Yes.
Whatever that is.
Yes.
Sometimes we need sleep. We all need sleep to fill up that cup. And to go back to H a little bit with these things too. I mean, if you're having trouble with sleep, you've got some insomnia.
Yeah.
That's a warning flag, right?
Yeah.
Like we need to, something's out of balance we need to work on. Whether you need more exercise, which is counterintuitive,
better
or maybe
diet or
whatever.
Get off the cell phones, the blue light stuff. Yeah,
all right,
all
we'll
that
talk
kind of
about
stuff.
that. But so the I think that they're all connected. They're all connected together, whether it's community, team, or the health metrics, which can manifest all sorts of problems that can connect everything together, and then rest.
Yeah.
And finding something where you feel recharged is just as important as the sleep.
Yep.
You need, and we've talked about this before, but how essential sleep is. Just like that metric you're looking on the cockpit, right?
Yep.
How much sleep are you getting every night?
How much fuel do I have in my tank? What speed am I going at? Yeah.
How much sleep do you
It's
get
my
at night?
altitude.
How much sleep do you get at night, would you say?
So now my schedule has kind of changed. I go to bed early, and I usually get about 7 hours. I get up really early because I have to get to work. So with my new schedule, I work 4 10-hour days, Monday through Thursday. And so I get up very early, about 3:30, because I go to the gym first.
Okay.
Because I've always been a morning workout guy. And so I usually get home about 5:30, and by the time I get home, I'm tired. Like the thought of going for a walk or, going in the garage is working out. And right now in Texas, it's super hot. And so, I like working out in the heat. But so I'll get up early, I'll get in a quick workout, and then, get cleaned up and go to work.
I do the same thing.
Yeah. You've always, we've both always been morning people.
Not 3:30 though. I'm 4:30.
Well, yeah, but your schedule's different.
3:30.
But I also go to bed.
That sounds so much earlier than 4:30.
It's early.
4:30 and 5:30.
But don't talk to me at 8:30 at night because I'm sitting there dozing off in the chair. So my daughters laugh at me. But
see, that's my problem. Is like I'm waking up at 4:30, but I'm going to bed at 12:30.
Yeah, see, you're a psychopath. You're crazy.
I need to do a better job of sleep. That's a weak point for me. I know that. I need to work on that.
Right.
Well, that's the first half of the acronym.
And we've done a whole series. So if somebody out there wants to dive deep into each one of these topics, go back in our podcast library. We've done a full podcast on each one of these letters of this Thrive acronym, and gone and you've kind of done the deep dive on it.
And we were talking this morning, and I think we both agree that the health message right now is just so messed up. It's people are feeling gross. They just feel gross,
tired, run down, no energy,
and they feel like it's normal. And
they're drinking caffeine, and that's another thing. These energy drinks that they're giving you this hit of energy, but then you have the crash afterwards. And
we're finding we're smart. We find ways to compensate, whether it's an energy drink or whatever.
Social media or whatever.
Working a little harder for that boat or whatever. We find ways to compensate, but none of them are really fulfilling. I think we have to get back to basics with our health and wellness and look for those big pieces that are a little out of whack, and we will feel better. And that's really the heart, I think, of what we want to talk about.
Sure. We want to feel better, live longer, right? We all have an expiration date, right? Nobody's going to live forever. Yeah. But while we're here, we all want to have energy, be happy, be at peace with what we're doing, have a happy family, have a community. We all want those things.
Did you know the life expectancy just 120 years ago was about 47 years?
Yeah.
Average. And a lot of it was because...
I'd be dead. We'd be dead.
Right. Well, if you live this long, it's a little different because the whole average was skewed by the number of kids that died before the age of 5.
Right, because of things that we now have vaccinations
maternal,
for. Yeah. Yes.
Dying during childbirth. And then with the advent of a lot of infectious diseases like appendicitis that would have killed us before, now we treat it. So there's a lot of benefits to Western medicine. We absolutely need to appreciate and be grateful for our healthcare system. as misguided as I think it is amazing in so many life-saving ways. And there's a reason why our mortality rate's gone down so much, and our longevities. I mean, we've gone from 47 to about 80 now. It's pretty incredible. But it's not that pretty, though, when you start to remove some of these, like if you remove these, like a lot of the infectious disease things, you look at, if you pull those out of our life expectancy, things really haven't been as beneficial in the last 120 years as you might think.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of these chronic conditions, people are still dying unnecessarily young, in my opinion, because of diseases that we've been managing poorly, frankly.
Yeah.
And this is not the best thing for people's health to just increase the meds. I think we all know that, but I don't think we do that. It's easier to say it than it is to do it, and the healthcare system isn't going to change in one day, but this philosophy of treating chronic diseases has got to change. It's not the best thing for people.
I also think that it's, like you said, when there's a lot of money, and there's a lot of money behind the healthcare system, that makes it very hard to change, because you start taking money away from people that are making billions and billions of dollars. They don't want that to stop.
There's a lot of money out there, and I hate to say it, but when you start to look at some of the folks who are funding some of these big companies who are making these ultra-processed foods,
you gotta question their motives.
Yeah, there's a lot. It's just complicated. It's complicated. Nothing is simple.
But we all make our own choices, right? Just because they're putting the product out there doesn't mean you have to consume it.
It's kind of like blaming it's like blaming a shooting on the gun.
Exactly.
I mean, we need gun restrictions. Obviously, you shouldn't be able to buy a gun off the,
But what's the bigger problem?
The bigger problem.
Mental health.
The bigger problems.
Whatever. Who knows what the answer to that?
And the same thing back to health and wellness. The big problem, I think, is in our disease management and going from leaving almost this preventive perspective to a reaction. Fix the disease when it's happening and manage the disease
as opposed to prevent it from. The best way to stay healthy is to stay out of the hospital. You don't have to go to the hospital because you don't have any health problems, right? And you do that by living a healthy lifestyle.
And again, quality of care is finding the right answer in the least amount of time with the least amount of resources.
That's efficient.
That's efficient.
Simple,
it's high
safe,
quality.
and efficient.
That's right. But it doesn't cost a lot of money.
Well, it doesn't make a lot of money.
That's right. That's what I mean. It's the healthcare system will generate a whole lot more money if you get a bunch of chronic users, sick people needing the healthcare system.
Yeah, fill them, give them jobs where they sit all day. Yeah. Don't motivate them to exercise and be healthy, and then feed them a bunch of junk that's like literally poison to their bodies.
So I'm excited for the second half. We're going to talk about intake.
Yep.
We're going to talk about vitality. Yep. And we're going to talk about exercise.
All right, let's do it. All right, so we talked about the first half of health and wellness, your health and wellness acronym, Thrive.
Yeah. And I think that they're all connected, but we just divided it up in half, and so the team or community health metrics, watching those gauges in the cockpit. Yep. We've got a lot of gauges to monitor, and a lot of people just don't even think about it.
No, until something happens.
Right, or leave it to the doctor.
Yeah.
Well, don't do that. No. Take control of some of your healthcare. Some of the stuff you're not trained to know, but and taking ownership of them is good for your health. And then finally, we talked a little bit about the restoration, which is recharge. What do you do to recharge? And I loved hearing you talk about your motorcycles.
Yeah. And your music.
Yeah. Those are things that we do, and everybody should have that thing. Mm-hmm. But we're going to move into the second half now, the I, intake.
Yep.
I've told this story many times before, but I'll say it again because I think it's a great story. First time I mowed the lawn, I put paint thinner into the lawnmower. Destroyed it. My dad was so mad at me. The paint thinner can looked just like the gas can, and I destroyed it. We had to buy a new lawnmower. And my dad was mad. But, we're doing that now. It's like everybody knows it's not healthy to eat polonium 243 or whatever. It's the most deadly poison known to man. Remember the lecture we did one time? Yeah. Or strychnine. These are poisons, right?
Yep.
We know that water's good for us. We're both drinking water. This is not coffee. This is water in here. H2O, right? Our body needs it. 60% of our bodies are made of water. The stuff that we put into our bodies is, whether it's what we're eating, what we're breathing, what we're lotions we're putting on our skin, the largest organ of the body. These chemicals, these things that we ingest, the intake, have a huge impact on our health. And I think we're learning more and more about how important what we put into our body is on our total health and wellness. And that's why the intake is so important. Everything is connected, but again, the eye is one of those big ones that's really misunderstood. A lot of people think, well, if I eat vegan, then I'll be more healthy, or I wish I could eat vegan. Well, actually, you know, if you eat Oreos and...
man, you're stepping in it now.
Well, I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not about the philosophy you eat. I mean, they literally have things called kangatarians. They only eat kangaroo meat.
Pescatarians,
right.
kangatarians.
There's all sorts of eating styles out there. To me, when I speak on this, I like to say thalitarian. I'm a thalitarian. I want to eat in a way where I will thrive as much as possible. In the Greek, thalo is thrive or grow. And so to me, all of us want to eat that optimal fuel, that intake. That's what our body's wanting.
Yeah.
I have friends who are carnivores, the carnivore diet, and they said, I've never felt better. All my numbers, all my health metrics are getting better. I've never slept this well. I've never had this much energy. Well, you know what? You're not eating chemicals. Good job.
Same thing with vegans.
Exactly. Same thing. You can say the same thing.
Yeah.
I have a vegan friend of mine who's, you know, when I'm ordering the Egg McMuffin, he's got his jar with his, you know, overnight oats in it. And then we go over for dinner. He's having a quinoa salad while I eat my steak. And you're thinking to yourself, wow, this guy's really healthy. Yeah. Right? Well,
and he probably is.
He probably is. If he really eats a plant-based diet, that's a healthy way to eat because you're not getting
all the chemicals. Processed foods, I
think there are 10,000 known harmful chemicals in our food supply that have been, that have been approved to be in our food supply.
Yeah, and most other countries are banned.
Yeah, many of them are. Yeah. I think, and I love what RFK is doing with cleaning up the food supply. But what we put into our bodies has a huge impact on all of these pillars of health that we've been talking about. There's a lot about the gut biome and how the what we eat actually has a lot to do with our mental health. Some of these toxins released by these bacteria that can overrun our system if we're eating a lot of processed foods can actually increase our risk for depression and anxiety and have that poor mood. I mean, and like we talked about before, a lot of these side effects of poor health and wellness, a lot of the stuff when we're not monitoring those health metrics that we should be monitoring, we just accept it as normal. Yeah, I'm just kind of a melancholy person. Or, I've always struggled with my sleep. Well, actually, you may not have to.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think a lot of this is connected to the food we eat. It's not all about the food we eat, but it's a huge factor.
Yep. Yeah, you could have a really expensive sports car that's meant to run and rev and do all the cool things, and if you put crappy fuel in it, guess what? It's not going to perform at its optimal, and it's probably going to break down eventually.
I love what you just said. Think about it, Matt. You just bought a new truck.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to miss an oil change.
No, well, I didn't do that anyway.
But
yeah,
you know what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
You have $1 million sports car in your garage.
I don't.
But if you did.
But if I did.
And how much more valuable are you than $1 million sports car?
Exactly. Yeah, and people need to think about that. Yeah, for sure. Yes.
That's what we're talking about here.
Yes.
Let's do the right things to take care of our bodies, to feel the way we want to feel. You're feeling sluggish and tired and stressed and anxious.
You've got a few extra pounds around your gut.
Right. You may not need to live with that stuff. Just take control of your health.
Well, and I think a lot of times it's kind of a bad cycle because they have all those things that you just said, and then it's like, oh, well, I could just, let's just go out to dinner. That'll make me feel better. Let's go out and have dinner. And then they go out and they eat a crummy dinner and have some drinks with dinner, because it's like, oh, that'll make me feel better right now. Yep. It's that instant gratification that we talked about earlier, right? Yep. Or social media. Well, I'll just get on social media, or I'll just take whatever it is, and that's part of the vicious cycle. As opposed to if you're disciplined, right, and you don't eat that garbage or watch that garbage, right? Because intake is more than, like you said, more than just what you put in your mouth. It's what you're viewing as well.
That's right.
Right? That has a huge impact on your mental health, which, as we just said, has a huge impact on your physical health. So watching things that, you shouldn't be watching, or, being a part of things that you shouldn't be a part of, that all is intake.
Yeah, you've hit on it too. You're so right, Matt. It's not just the intake for food.
Right.
Pornography is destroying relationships. I mean, we spend more in the pornographic industry, I think, than all the professional sports combined, or something like that. I mean, some ridiculous number. Yeah. And no one's talking about it. That's something that really can erode your own relationships, and if you want to sabotage your marriage.
Recently on social media you get on, and people are so motivated to have this big platform and to have lots of followers and all these things, right? And then you can watch the downfall of these people. If you make one mistake, boy, the tide will quickly turn against you, and then everybody's attacking you. We're so just waiting for the next person to fall so that we can just jump on and attack them. Yep. And it's like people talk about building each other up and doing all these things, and I mean, there's certainly people that do that, and maybe it's a lot more people than we think. They're just not as vocal as the the squeaky wheel theory kind of thing. But social media is just another one. I'm not saying that it's the devil necessarily, but it's everything in proportion, and everything, if it's not doing you good things, then maybe you ought to think about doing something else.
Well, I think there's a balance, and I think you've talked about it a lot. I mean, whether you're eating food, not overeating is a good thing to eat a sensible amount of food.
Yeah, and if you tell me I'm never eating tacos again, we're throwing pans.
Well, we all have those types of foods, right? And we should be able to eat those things.
Absolutely. There's nothing saying that you can't have a piece of pizza or a hamburger. Nobody's saying that you can't do that. But if that's all you're eating.
Yeah. I had a patient once, I asked her what her son's favorite vegetable was to kind of get an idea of where their health was as far as nutrition, and she said corn dogs. I knew I was dealing with we had some education we needed. But
corn dogs.
But it's again, I think here's a philosophy. You could take this to the bank. I mean, let's talk about the big rocks here.
Yeah.
As far as intake goes, if you're eating non-processed foods, like natural foods, whether it's grass-fed top sirloin, or
free-range chicken,
chicken, or quinoa, or what of the vegetables, pesticide-free stuff. I mean, you can organic, whatever,
antibiotic-free. Yeah.
If we're avoiding the middle aisles of the grocery store and do most of our shopping along the walls, we're going to be in a good spot, and that's just a big, easy way to improve our health.
Simple too.
Eat less cereal. Eat more oatmeal. Eat less
chips.
I'm not saying everyone has to have
more
oatmeal.
Vegetables.
Right.
Yeah.
And for me to just sit up here and say eat more fruits and veggies, that's archaic. We know that. What I'm saying here is eat the natural foods. Yeah. Avoid all these processed foods that have been introduced into our food supply. Now listen, the food companies are only making what we want.
Well, of course, because
we've got it, and you have, like you said, make the choice for yourself and for your family and eat healthy. Yeah. That's a big part, and that's really what intake is. Now, we could talk about some of the chemicals we put in our shampoos and lotions and sunscreens and stuff, and there's certain chemicals to avoid. Smoking, obviously, breathing in, and smoking is not good. Chewing, vaping.
That's another huge thing.
People
think, it's not a cigarette.
It's not a cigarette, but it's got a whole other slew of problems.
Exactly. Chemicals. Yeah.
So really being mindful of all of the things that we put into our bodies.
Another good way to think about it, I've heard the grocery store aisles, but I've also heard if you can't grow it or raise it, then you shouldn't be putting it in your body. Huh. Yeah. That's, in a simple way, not saying that you got to go be a cattle farmer or, have your own vegetable garden, because some people can't do that. But if it can't be grown or raised, then it's probably not good for you. To
add to this, I know we're going to get to our next letter here momentarily, but it's more than just doing this now. It's not. Don't just all of a sudden just say, you know what, screw it, I'm going plant-based, I'm never eating meat again. That's what we tend to do as Americans, and especially I think as men we tend to kind of just want to conquer the mountain right away. I know that's how it sometimes is, not always, obviously, but we as humans tend to do that. And I think for us here today, I think as far as each of these letters goes, and intake is no exception, think of one thing you can do. For me, it was just stopping sodas.
Sure,
and I introduced, it's like a sparkling water called Topo Chico. I started, and we're not funded by Topo Chico. That's what I did.
We would welcome to be funded.
We sure would be. No, but it was a healthy alternative. I knew it was better for me to have sparkling water instead of sparkling phosphoric acid with a bunch of corn syrup and artificial flavors and chemicals. And that's just not good for me. And I knew that. And I love my Diet Coke. I love my Diet Pepsi. I love the Diet Dr. Pepper.
I love your Diet Coke story. Well, we won't tell that, right?
No, terrible story.
Well, yeah, that's a great point. One simple change,
Small
right?
thing.
You don't have to okay, starting tomorrow, I'm going to work out every day, and I'm only going to eat, vegan. Okay, that's probably not going to succeed, right? How about we say, you know what? I'm going to focus on reducing my sugar intake, right? I'm going to try to cut out sugar, or I'm going to try to cut out chips, right? I'm not going to eat chips anymore. And start with one thing. Or, you know what? Every day I'm going to get in 10,000 steps. Or every day I'm going to spend 30 minutes doing some form of exercise, right? Whatever it is, doesn't matter. Find something. Before you go on, when it comes to exercise, I was just going to say, find something that you like to do, right? If you like lifting weights, then go lift weights. If you like walking or rucking right now, I recently just got a rucking, rucksack. It's a military, they call it, if you wear a big heavy backpack and they go on a ruck march, right? So rucking, there's Go Ruck as a company that is just, people with weighted vests. I just bought a backpack, a weighted pack. That's become kind of a thing. People we're going to go ruck 50 miles this month or whatever. You keep track of your miles.
And you enjoy it.
And people like it, so do that, or running, or cycling.
Well, that's exactly what we're saying here. You're right. Find something. If you love potato chips and you know they're not good for you, find something you really enjoy that could replace those potato chips that's more healtly. Right. Well, instead of eating those Doritos, maybe I'm gonna do a baked, they've got lots of alternatives that are.
Now they're making all these protein things too, which I don't know how good those are because there's a lot of chemicals.
They're ultra processed, lots of chemicals.
Yes.
You know what? Find something with fewer ingredients on it. Really look at. It's not just the calories. A lot of it is just the ingredients. I mean, the ingredients here is potatoes, oil, and salt and pepper or something like that. I mean, that's more healthy than these ultra processed Doritos with all these chemicals in it.
Yeah, exactly. I heard that this the other day was kind of a funny thing. I literally just heard this. Calories is the amount of calories ingested. I'm not saying it perfectly. Tells you what you're going to weigh, and the macros tells you where you're going to put that weight. I was like, that's kind of a neat way, because the macros is another big thing that people are looking at: your carbs, your fats, your proteins, having those in proportion. And based off, if you're an endurance athlete, if you're doing triathlons, you probably are going to have a higher level of carbohydrates in your diet than somebody that's lifting or wanting to put on weight. They're going to have higher proteins. So. Not to get off on that.
That is a big part of intake, though. And I think there's a graded sort of the first time you may have heard me talk, I was talking to one of our firefighters in our community. He heard that talk, and he says, "Hey, Doc, I just wanted you to know I stopped drinking sodas. I'm doing Topo Chicos now." There you go. The second time you hear it, you might add something else. It's I stopped eating potato chips that I was eating. I don't do those anymore. Now I'm doing some veggie deal with fewer ingredients, whatever. These little things that you can implement into your life and make it a lifelong habit are things that you're going to, every now and then I'll have a Diet Coke. Every now and then I'll enjoy a nice Dorito, whatever. But more often than not, the daily routine that I have is more healthy. And you got to make micro decisions. And when you make one micro decision, it's easier to stack another one on top of it, and you start to feel successful. And I think the other thing to say before we leave intake, because we're about to go into vitality and mental health, but when you do fall off the wagon and it's been a couple days and you had a bunch of ice cream and you know you've been eating like crap, don't stay off the wagon. Get back on the wagon.
Okay.
It's really the long game we're playing for.
Yep.
It's the long term.
It's kind of like the stock market. If you're in a day trade, you better know what you're doing. You better be paying attention, because if you're just throwing money at things, you're probably going to lose.
Yep.
Where if you're long-term investing and you're like, okay, every month I'm going to be disciplined. I'm going to put this much money into this account, and it's going to go up and it's going to go down. But in the long run, after 20, 30 years, I'm going to have a nest egg. I'm going to be healthy, right?
Yep.
I'm going to financially be healthy because I played the long game.
And the long game is avoiding processed foods. Eat natural foods for now. That's a good first step, right?
Yep.
Find a way that you can do that. As you get more refined and start counting the macros and monitoring micronutrients, and you start to get into some of the nuancy stuff where you're tweaking it a little bit, there may be some benefits in those things. But for now,
I
think
there.
Just avoiding processed foods is a big thing.
Yes.
Don't smoke.
Yep.
Those big things, I think.
Yeah.
But all of these play into our brain, the mental health, their vitality, our mental health.
Yep.
Having that contentment and the peace of being happy with who you are is a big part. Feeling known, back to community. I mean, that connection that we have with other people plays a big part in how we connect with ourselves and feel about ourselves, and that's a really big part of our health.
Yep.
Pessimism, for example, has been shown to really have detrimental effects on our physical health. The way we see the world, the optimism that we can choose to see the world in different ways.
Yes.
That attitude that we have is a big part of mental health. But just like we talked about with the health metrics, being aware of the fact that, I'm in a bad spot right now. I am really depressed. In fact, I'm having thoughts of suicide.
Yeah.
These are red flags. You need to get some help.
Yes.
And get yourself back on the right path. From a mental perspective, you may be in a place where you have to have a professional to help you out.
Yes.
Just to get you to a place where you can see things in perspective that's rational. That's hard to do sometimes.
Yeah, when you're in that hole, and a lot of people don't sympathize with people, obviously I've run on numerous suicides, unfortunately, in my career. And, there's a saying that I'm sure most people have heard, but it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. I think back when I was in 6th grade, we had a kid in my class that committed suicide. And at 12 years old, I mean, it's like, what in the world could be so terrible at 12 years old that you commit suicide, And at any age, it doesn't, 12, 30, 50, whatever, right?
Yeah.
You look back at, now we're our age, you look back like 12 years old, like those aren't even, but in that moment when you're in that hole.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm just saying like to encourage people that if you're in that hole, there's plenty of resources, especially if you're a first responder of any kind. There's lots of resources. There's lots of ways to get help. There's people that want to help you. Yeah. Just reach out and ask for that help. Before you take, because you're going to exit, and then everybody that you ever cared about or loved is going to be left behind suffering and dealing with that for the rest of their life.
Right.
And so think about it from that aspect. But,
well, that's the danger of adolescent suicide, is that these 12-year-olds and what's going on in life, they don't have the emotional ability to even comprehend
their brain
and
isn't fully
rationalize
formed.
it.
They don't know how to deal with it. Yeah.
I had a counselor once tell me, it's like being at 9/11.
Yeah.
You're in a building, you're in a room, it's burning. There's only one way out. So
there's
jump
two
out
ways
the window.
Yeah, you either burn or you jump. And
So I think that when you're young and you don't have the ability to process these things, that's why it's so sad. To your point, a 12-year-old has so much life ahead of them.
Oh, yeah.
So much.
They have no idea.
No, but when you're in it, whether it's abuse of some kind or who knows what they're dealing with, that 12-year-old's dealing with, they don't have the emotional capability to even understand it or even make it compute.
They just think this is never going to stop.
It's like you're in a burning building and there's only one option: you jump out the window because the room is on fire.
Yeah.
And I will. That's the way we feel sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that when somebody feels like they're in that spot where that's the only option, remember, it's not the only option.
It is not the only option.
Get some help. Get some help.
Yes.
It's never just those two options, but it may be hard to see it, and you may be that friend who can help them navigate it and find it, right? So some of the warning signs for really bad mental health would be like Matt, he used to enjoy hiking with us. Now he's totally not into it anymore, and he's late to work all the time. That's not the Matt I know.
Right, out of character
flag
things.
to me.
Yeah, that would be a red flag. Matt starts showing up late.
Or that guy that's at the firehouse, or girl that's typically, leading the trainings, and now he's cutting corners, and it's not something wrong with Matt. What's going on?
Yeah. Or they've been depressed for a long time, like they've kind of been down in the dumps, and then all of a sudden you see this spike, right? And now they're happy, or they're like, hey, you know what, Eric? I figured I'm kind of tired of riding this motorcycle. I'm going to give you my bike. I'm going to give you my Harley. I want you to have it. Like,
big warning
sign. Like, you
Yeah.
love riding motorcycles. Why in the world? Yeah. Those are warning signs. I think a lot of people have been educated on those, but it's important to pay attention to those things, especially in the fire service. We live. I mean, besides our families, people in the fire service, we know each other like brothers and sisters. And you're going to be really prone to seeing those changes in behavior, just like you said, like, man, they're not acting right. That's not, and maybe it's one day, they have an off day. We all have off days. But when you're seeing, like, it's been a week, 2-3 weeks, and Eric's just not acting right, like, hey, man, are you good?
Yeah,
like,
ask the question.
Yeah, are you good? Like, hey, you can talk to me. Like, we're good, right? If you need something, like, I'm here for you, and what's the standard? I'm fine. Sometimes you have to push.
Isolation is so dangerous in these situations. That's why community is so important. Have someone that's you can talk to, somebody you can go to. If you don't have that type of person in your life, you're too busy and you don't have it, you need to find it.
Yep. And a lot of times, people, firemen, first responders especially, don't want to talk to counselors and stuff, but they'll talk to one of us. Yeah. Like, one-on-one, like, yeah, man, I'm just not doing good. And, okay, tell me what's going on. So be that person.
Yeah, mental health is huge, vitality. And the last letter is E, as exercise or exertion.
One of our favorites.
We're built to move. We are built to move, and it doesn't mean you have to be a power lifter or a CrossFit guru.
Marathon runner.
You said it earlier. Say it again. Rucking, is that your thing? Do it. Have fun.
Yeah. Go find something that you like. Yoga, Pilates,
backpack,
swimming, kayaking, backpacking, bicycling, mountain biking, powerlifting, bodybuilding. Doesn't matter. Go find something that you enjoy.
And I'll say this too, is that even if you don't enjoy it right now, you've got to do it. Yeah. And it might just be walking. And recommendations now, I mean, if you could every day get 10,000 steps, the health benefits are huge. And there aren't many things that we can endeavor to do that are all cause mortality benefits.
Yes.
In the research world in medicine, that's a huge deal. Yeah. Exercise has benefits all across the board. And if you're not doing anything right now, get up and do something active. Move.
Just start. Like you said, it doesn't with intake. Start with one thing. Just say, you know what, I'm going to go walk for 30 minutes every day. Okay, start there. Make that a habit. Make that part of your day, part of your lifestyle. And then after 30 days, guess what? Like, oh, this is just what I do now, right? And then you say, you know what, I think I might start running. I feel this feels good. I might, and I guarantee you, once you start doing that, and then you start seeing the physical changes. Like, wow, I'm actually eating a little bit better, and I've just cut out 2 things, and I've been walking. I lost 5 pounds in the last 2 months.
Have you ever regretted going to the gym? Or have you ever regretted actually? No, never. It's always good.
Yes.
Have you ever regretted not going?
Oh, every time. Yeah, exactly. Right? Every time.
So there aren't many things with such an obvious benefit, but unfortunately, we have a default setting to be a little bit lazy and rest. Right? But we got to push against that. Really, every day we should be doing exercise. The recommendation is at 150 minutes a week. That's about 30 minutes 5 times a day. And that's definitely doable.
5 times a day? 5 times a week.
5 times a week.
I'm like, dang, that's a lot.
That's overkill. You can do too much.
Yes, you can.
It's easy on your body. It needs rest.
Yeah.
It's all balance, I think. Well, we don't have much time left. I think the big thing we're talking about today is that our health and wellness is complicated.
It is.
And don't lose sight of the importance of community. If you're going to do something to invest in your health, go reconnect with some old friends.
Or really make some new friends.
Make some new friends.
Get out and, whether you find something that you enjoy, a hobby that you enjoy, maybe you can combine exercise. Like my daughters are both big into physical fitness, and so that is also their community. Right. I know CrossFit, that's why CrossFit has become so popular, is because not only are you getting healthier and you're exercising, but you've also built this community. And so you've knocked out 2 of the things on our list that are super important.
I wish I could remember the quote from Woodrow and McCall when they're talking on the porch of their house out in Lonesome Dove.
Yeah, which part?
Viva fit or something.
Yeah.
Viva. They're talking about that Latin on that that sign.
Vito Veritas. Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah. Or no, that's from Tombstone, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, but the Latin phrase there is so cool. They don't really talk about what it means, but what it means though is that the grapes take on the characteristics of the other grapes they hang out with.
There you go.
And that was kind of the theme of that miniseries. If you haven't seen it, it's amazing. You should see it. But the point is that when you hang out with a group of people that are like-minded, it's synergistic, and you start to enjoy the things that you're sharing together. You hold each other accountable for some of the health metrics.
Yep.
Now because of the exercise, your mental health is improving.
Yep. Well, you've said this before, that you and our film guy Devin, that when you have an accountability partner to get healthy, isn't your chance of success like 90%?
Yeah, when you have a plan and accountability, the success rate is 90+%.
Yeah.
You just say I'm going to do something, it's like 10%.
Yeah.
So really building in the community into whatever health change you're trying to make is so important.
Yep.
So that's the team stuff. The community is super important.
Health, we talked about overall health, watching the gauges.
Resting.
Yep, resting.
Recharging.
Get some good
Find that thing you enjoy, which maybe it's exercise too,
Find
right?
your peace. Yeah, exactly. Find your peace. Yep, find something that brings you some peace and happiness.
Avoid processed foods.
Simple.
Huge benefit to all of these pillars. If you just avoid the poisons, avoid the processed foods.
Not saying you can't ever not eat a Dorito again or ice cream again, but limit. Now it's become the bulk of our diet. Make it much less.
And value your mental health. You've got to be content, and you are who you are. Don't strive to be something you're not.
Don't compare yourself. Comparison's the thief of joy. Do not compare yourself to somebody else.
And I would say if you're struggling with mental health, go exercise, which is the E.
For
just as effective as antidepressants.
There's proof that if you're in a bad mood, you're at the house, you're in a bad mood, maybe you're fighting with your wife or whatever, like go outside and take a walk. Like being outside and moving will 100% improve your mood.
And the last thing I'll say as far as mental health goes is if you're feeling thoughts of depression where you're getting to the point of thinking about suicide, get the help, some professional help. Don't try to go that alone. Isolation is not the answer. You need the community of an expert in the field, a professional who can help you navigate through it and get to a place where you can start to think rationally again. You may need some medications temporarily. It's not a life sentence.
Just to get you over a hump.
That's exactly right. So,
and if you're a firefighter, use your EAP. I know most cities in our area, they have employee assistance programs where that can be free most of the time. You can get counseling things for free. So a lot of people worried, like, I can't afford to go to a counselor. Like, if you're a first responder, you probably have free resources available to you that you don't know about. Ask some people in your department or your agency, and they can probably help you get to those resources.
Get help.
So, get some help.
It's a good one to end on.
Yeah, for sure. We're about cut off. So see you in the next one.
Be safe out
Thank you for listening to EMS, the Erik and Matt Show.